A very good morning, children. Welcome back to the English online class. Children, I hope that you all are staying safe at your home and also with good health. Children, in today's class, we are going to start with the new poem, and the name of the poem is The Eagle and the Beetle, which is taken from Aesop's Fables. Now, this poem is a fable, that means a short story, typically with animals as characters conveying a moral. I repeat again, children, what is a fable? A fable is a short story, typically with animals as characters conveying a moral. So, this poem is a fable, and this is taken from Aesop's Fables. Now let us talk about Aesop. Who was Aesop? Aesop was a Greek fabulist and storyteller, credited with a number of fables, now collectively known as Aesop's Fables. Although his existence remains unclear and no writings by him survive, numerous tales credited to him were gathered across the centuries and in many languages in a storytelling tradition that continues to this day. Many of the tales are characterized by animals and inanimate objects that speak, solve problems, and generally have human characteristics. So before starting this poem, I wanted to ask you, have you ever gone out of the way to help your friend? So children, what qualities do you think are important in a friend? So think about these questions. So the children, friends are one of the most important, you can say, person in our life to whom we can share everything. Your friend can be your mother, your father, your sibling, or maybe a person who is not your relative, or he does not belong to your family, but still they are very close to you. So the only way to have a friend is to be one. So in this chapter, we are going to learn that how a friend goes out of the way to help his friend. And in this the main characters in this fable, the main characters are the hare, beetle, and eagle. So let's continue with the poem. So children, listen carefully. Now I'm going to read the poem. Hare, keep your friend's head. And she tore the hare's head off and swiftly bore his bleeding torso to her next, ripped off his tail and ate the rest. The beetle stared at her friend's head and wished that she herself was dead. She mixed her tears with his dark blood and clogged his face with clods of mud. She swore that till her dying breath she would avenge his cruel death, that she would make the eagle pay for what she had performed today. Next day, she slowly tracked the trail from drop of blood to tuft of tail, till high up on a mountain crest, and at the hour that yesterday the bird had plunged towards her prey, the beetle with her 6 short legs rolled out the mighty eagle's eggs. She left at once, but she could hear the eagle's scream of pain and fear. When later she returned and found the broken egg shells on the ground. Next day, the eagle moved her next 10 miles or more towards the west. But still the beetle's scrutiny followed her flight from rock to tree. When finally the eagle laid another clutch, the beetle made straight for the nest in which they lay. And when the bird was hunting prey with much fatigue but little sound, rolled the great eggs onto the ground. When this had gone on for a year, the eagle, crazed with rage and fear, would turn back, screeching in mid-air. Whenever she would sight a hare, the far drone of the beetle's flight shattered her calm by day or night. For weeks on end, she scarcely slept. She laid her eggs in grief and wept when what she had feared had come to pass, and her smashed brood lay on the grass. At last she cried, "What is the use of bearing your protection, Zeus, when that small evil clot of mind has massacred my flesh and blood? Thing of gods, King of the gods, where may I rest? Where may I safely build my nest? Where lay my eggs without mishap?" "Here," said the god, "here in my lap." And so the egg lay more secure than they had ever lain before. What in the universe could be more safe than Jewish custody? So thought the eagle, till one day the beetle saw them where they lay, and aiming with precision, flung a microscopic ball of dung into the lap of mighty Zeus, who rising spewed divine abuse, and shaking dirt from off his legs, unthinkingly tipped out the eggs. Past hope, the eagle pinned away and died of grief. And to this day, they say that eagles will not nest in months when beetles fly their best. But others, not so superstitious, merely assert that fate's capricious and that the strong who crush the weak may not be shown the other cheek. So children, this was the poem. Now let us have a look at the summary of this poem. The Eagle and the Beetle. An eagle was chasing a hare which was running for dear life, means for his life, and was at her wits' end to know where to turn for help. Presently, she espied a beetle who was his friend and begged it to aid her. So, when the eagle came up, the beetle warned her not to touch the hare, which was under his protection. So, beetle being a friend warned the eagle not to touch hare as she was her friend, which was under her protection. But the eagle never noticed the beetle because it was so small. So the eagle never noticed, means he did not even wanted to listen beetle because it was very small, and the eagle thought that why I would listen to the beetle. Seized the hare and ate her up. So without listening to the beetle, the eagle just clutched the hare and ate her up. The beetle never forgot this because beetle was the best friend of the hare. So she never forgot this, that how the eagle ate her best friend, and used to keep an eye on eagle's nest. Why? Because he wanted that she took break the egg of the eagle. So whenever the eagle laid an egg, it climbed up and rolled it out of the nest and broke it. At last, the eagle got so worried over the loss of her eggs that she went up to the Jupiter, that is to the god Zeus, who is the special protector of eagles, and begged him to give her a safe place to nest in. So he let her lay her eggs in his lap. So the god Zeus told eagle that if your eggs are not safe, then you can keep your eggs or lay your eggs on my lap. But the beetle noticed that this and made a ball of dirt the size of an eagle's egg and flew up and deposited it in Jupiter's, means in God's lap. When Jupiter saw the dirt, he stood up to shake it out of his robe, and forgetting about the eggs, he shook them out too, and they were broken, just as before. Ever since then, they say, means it is said, that eagles never lay their eggs at the season when beetles are about. So, from this fable or the poem, we can say that the weak will sometimes find ways to avenge an insult. Children, the meaning of avenge is to take revenge, even upon the strong. As you know, that beetle is a very small insect, flying insect, and eagle, it is a very big bird, and of course it is very dangerous for the small animals and also the small animals. So the beetle is nothing in front of that eagle, but still sometimes the weak find their way to avenge an insult. Means what insult he did, means what it did to her friend, she took the revenge of it by breaking the egg of the eagle. Even though the eagle is far stronger than the beetle. So children, the moral of this fable or the poem is that always be mindful of how you treat others. Means we should always treat others very nicely. You may have all it takes to win the war, but do have a rethink, because sometimes even the weakest may find means to avenge a wrong. So children, this was the moral of this poem. I hope that you all have understood. Thank you and have a great day.